Okay, how you guys doing there? About ready to start section 3-7. When does this section due? Give me a second here. I should have written this down. Give me a second here. I gotta go check. Let's see. 3-7 is due. When is this? We're gonna start this. This is actually due on Wednesday, so it's Monday today. So we have today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. Hopefully this one's not too bad of a section. This is the last section of the chapter. It's not as quick as the last section. Remember, the last section only had like 4 questions you had to do or something like that. There's a few more than this, not a ton more. I think we have like 8 questions I'm going to do with you guys and 8 questions you can do on your own. But this is the last section of the chapter, and then the rest of the week we will be reviewing for our test. Our test is going to be on the 14th of December, which is Monday, the 14th. So anyhow, section 3-7 deals with absolute value functions, okay? Absolute value functions. Absolute value functions. I'll leave the S there. Absolute value functions. Okay. So if you remember, the absolute values are like those bars. Like if I gave you absolute value of -6 is +6. The absolute value of +5 is still +5. Absolute value of negatives are positives. Absolute value of positives are still positive. Okay. So and so absolute values are always positive other than 0. The absolute value of 0 is still 0, okay? So if I was to ask you, what does y equals the absolute value of x look like? What does that graph look like, okay? Well, here's the long way of doing this. This is the only time we're going to do this type of problem. We'll make a little t-chart, and if I want to plug in values for x, I want to plug in 0 for x. If I plug in 0 for x, the absolute value of 0 is 0. If I plug in 1 for x, the absolute value of 1 is 1. If I plug in 2 for x, the absolute value of 2 is 2. And if I plug in 3 for x, the absolute value of 3 is 3. So if I graph these, 0, 0 is right in the middle, 1, 1 is right 1 up 1, 2, 2 is right 2 up 2, 3, 3 is right 3 up 3. Looks like a line. It's not, okay? So far it looks like a line, but if I was to plug in, I'm going to plug in 3 more values. So let's plug in some negative numbers, -1, -2, and -3. If I plug in -1, the absolute value of -1 is 1. -2's absolute value is 2. -3's absolute value is 3. So -1, 1 is back 1 up 1. -2, 2 is back 2 up 2. -3, 3 is back 3 up 3. So hopefully when you look at this, you go, hey, that kind of looks like a V, and it is. If I connect them, we have this, and we have that, okay? So absolute value functions look kind of like V's, okay? They look like V, all right? So that's a big thing right now is you need to understand that absolute values look like a V. And that's what we're going to be graphing is absolute value functions. But we're going to be doing some things to them, okay? That's the long way of doing these problems, okay? We're normally going to do it the short way, okay? I'm going to show you the short way right now as we dive into the assignment, okay? We're on exercise number 5, and they ask us to graph the function f of x is absolute value of x minus 4. Okay, this ties into what we were doing in the last section, okay? So we have an absolute value function, looks like a V. Now what does this -4 do to the graph, okay? Well, that -4 moves it down 4. Remember we talked about this in section 3-6, okay? So what it's going to look like, if our original function looked like this one, you're going to move down 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to be the exact same graph, but it's going to be down 4 spots, okay? So that's what it looks like. And it is the one you're going to click on is a vertical translation of 4 units down. So that's the one that you're going to need to, down 4 units, okay? You're going to click on the 4 different choices there. You're going to click on it 4 units down. Now they also talk about the domain and range, okay? Domain and range. Domain, you view the graph left and right, okay? This graph goes to the right forever. It's not just going up. As it goes up, it's going to the right. And as we go to the left, it's not just going up, it's also going to the left. It goes left and right forever, so the domain is all real numbers. Remember double bar R? That's the fancy symbol for all real numbers. Everything's used, okay? And the reason is what can I take the absolute value of? Anything. You take the absolute value of anything, okay? Now the range, don't look at it left and right, look at it up and down, okay? These go up forever. Do they go down forever? No. They only get as low as -4. It goes down to -4, then it swings back up. The lowest it gets to is -4. So we're talking about everything bigger than or equal to -4. Okay? Make sure it's y is bigger than or equal to -4. Okay? Let's look at number 7. Number 7. So we have a number 7, f of x equals what? Absolutely have x plus 1. Okay, again, this is what we talked about the other day. Okay, we have a plus 1, which means we're going to slide it, but it's in with the x. It's not off by itself like the minus 4. It's in with the x, so it doesn't move it up or down. It moves it left and right. Okay, remember, it's always the opposite. You would think plus 1 move it 1 to the right. It actually moves it 1 to the left. So how you graph this is this. You just move it 1 to the left. It goes like this, like this. Okay? And in this case, it is this time it's not a vertical, it's a horizontal translation of 1 left. Okay? And then they ask us for the domain and range again. It still goes left and right forever, so the domain's still all real numbers. The range, okay, it goes up forever, it doesn't go down forever, it gets as low as 0. The lowest it gets to is 0. Okay? So y is bigger than or equal to 0. Let's look at question number 9. Okay, now it's a little bit different, okay? This one's a little different. We have f of x is 1/3 x, okay? Absolute value of x. Okay, so here's what we're doing here, okay? We're not going to slide this up, down, left, or right at all. You only slide things when you add or subtract. We're not adding or subtracting, we're timesing by 1/3, okay? So here's what we do, okay? What we do is this. First off, over here on this one, I just did a really quick rough graph. What I should have done was this. I went 1 to the left, and I should have put a dot. And then there is a number here, there's a 1. What you do is you always go 1 right, and if there's a 1 here, you go up 1. And then you go 1 left and up 1. And there's our v, okay? So what we do here is this. We're not sliding it at all, so it stays right here at 0, 0, okay? So what we're going to do, though, is this. There's a 1/3 here, so what you're going to do is you're going to go over 1, and since it's positive 1/3, you're going to go up 1/3. Back 1 and up 1/3. If this was a 4 here, you'd go over 1 and up 4. Back 1 and up 4. If this was a 2, you go over 1 and up 2. Back 1 and up 2. Okay? So, what happens here is it didn't slide it, it crunched it down. Okay? It squashed it down. So in this case, what they're asking for is a vertical shrink. It shrunk it. If you shrink it down, it fattens it up. Okay? It's a vertical shrink by a factor of 1/3. Okay? And the domain and range they're asking for again. Domain still goes left and right forever, so it's still all real numbers. The range, it goes up forever, it doesn't go down forever. The lowest it gets to is 0. So it's everything above 0. Okay? So that was a little bit harder one, okay? When you add or subtract, you slide it, but when you multiply or divide, you stretch it or shrink it. Skip number 10, on to number 17, okay? Number 10 we're going to skip, then we're on to number 17. Okay, so what number 17 looks like is we have y equals x plus 4 minus 2. X plus 4, and then minus 2. Okay, so what's going to happen here is this minus 2 is going to move it 2 spots down. Okay, when it's off by itself, remember it moves it up or down, and it's minus 2, so it moves it down 2. Then this, with the x right here, it moves it left and right, but it moves it opposite of what you think. Okay, this ties in again to what we were doing in the last section. Plus 4, you'd think it'd move 4 to the right, it actually moves it 4 to the left, okay? So here's what you do. We go 4 to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 down, 4 left, 2 down, put a dot. Now there's a 1 right here, we just don't see it. So from this point, we always go over 1 and up 1, back 1 and up 1. If there was a 4 right here, we go over 1 and up 4, back 1 and up 4. Okay, so it looks like that. Okay? And, oh, okay, this one's an interesting one. Okay, this says compare that one to x plus 3 minus 2. Okay? X plus 3 minus 2. Well, it was x plus 3, we went 3 to the left and down 2. They went 4 to the left. So what did they do? They're saying, they wanted you to graph this one, and they said compare this one we just graphed to what this one would have been. Well, this plus 1, it's 1 more unit, so it's actually moved 1 unit to the left of the one we just did, okay? So the one we just did is 1 to the left of the other one, okay? It's a horizontal translation of 1 to the left. That's a little bit confusing there. Okay, we skip 19 on to number 23. Number 23, almost done with this section. Okay, how many more do we got? 23, a few more. Okay, thought we were almost done, but we're getting there. Okay, they give us g of x is absolute value of x. This is going to be a really quick one. Okay, all they ask you to do is to translate it 7 down. 7 down. So you just put minus 7. If you put plus 7 to move it 7 up, if you put minus 7 with the x, it would have moved it right 7. Okay? 25. Okay, they want us to vertically shrink it by a factor of 1/4. So same function, vertically shrink it. Remember, if you shrink or stretch it, you don't add or subtract, you multiply, So we multiply by 1/4. So 1/4, absolute value of 1x. That would shrink it vertically, which would make it fatter. Okay? Skip 26, on to number 33. Oh yeah, we're almost done. There's only 2 more to go, 33 and 35. Okay, 33. There's another one that's kind of quick. It says x plus 2 minus 6. Okay, x plus 2 and then minus 6. And they want to know, compare that to just y equals the absolute value of x. Well, this minus 6 moves it 6 down. The plus 2 moves it 2 to the left. Remember, when you add or subtract by itself, it moves it up and down. Minus 6 moves it down. When it's plus or minus with the x, it moves it left or right, but it's the opposite of what you think. Plus 2, you think 2 to the right, actually moves it 2 to the left. Okay, so it's a translation of 6 down and 2 left. Okay. Oh, and then that's just to graph it. Okay. So if we do that, we go 6 down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 2 left. So 6 down, 2 left, put a dot right here. There's a 1 right here, so you go over 1, up 1, and back 1, up 1. And there's our graph. Okay? One more question. Number 35, same type question here. Okay, this one's a little bit different, just a little bit different, something else we have not talked about yet. Okay, so they want negative x minus 3. That's not a 1, that's a negative absolute value bar. Plus 5. Okay, we got 3 things going on here, okay? This plus 5 moves it up 5, translates it up 5. The minus 3 moves it 3 to the right. Remember, with the x, it moves it back and forth, the opposite of what you would think. Minus 3, you would think left 3. It's actually right 3. Now, what does this negative do? There's a negative 1 right here. We'll deal with that in a second. So we go 3 right and up 5. 3 right, up 5, put a dot. Now, there's a negative 1 here. So we go 1 right, but it's a negative 1, so we go 1 down, back 1, down 1. If there's a negative in front of it, it flips it upside down. Okay? So when you flip it upside down, you're reflecting over the x-axis. Okay, so there's 3 things going on here. You move the 3 to the right, up 5, and you reflect it over the x-axis. When you have a negative, it flips it upside down over the x-axis. Okay? All right. So that's it for this section. Again, this assignment is due, what is this, section 3-7 is due on Wednesday, the whatever that day is. Today's the 4th, so 11, the 9th, I think it is. Okay, and this is the last section of the chapter. So, like the next video we have, we'll be reviewing for our exam. Again, our exam is next Monday, and we will be having a review sheet that will be posted online that you guys can follow through, and we'll have a review video, and that's how we'll review for our exam. Our exam is the 14th. Okay, if you have questions, email me. Talk to you later.